All right, Yankees fans, let's talk about what's really cooking in the Bronx right now, because things are starting to heat up as we head toward the offseason. The Yankees front office is clearly not planning to stay quiet after that disappointing exit at the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays. You could see it coming, the frustration, the reflection, and now the reaction. There's a very real sense that Brian Cashman and his staff want to reshape this roster, not just patch it up, and that means adding serious talent wherever they can find it. The question is, what kind of player fits what the Yankees need right now? And more importantly, who's actually realistic for them to go after? Let's start with what everyone's been talking about lately, Munetaka Murakami. The Japanese slugger has been one of the hottest names floating around baseball circles, and with good reason. The guy can flat out hit. Power, consistency, plate discipline. He's the full package, at least on paper. Murakami has spent his career tearing up Japanese pitching, and a lot of fans see him as the next big name ready to make the jump to Major League Baseball. Every time a Japanese superstar becomes available, the Dodgers are the first team everyone mentions. That's just how it's been for the last decade. But this time, Murakami himself has made it clear that the Yankees are also on his radar, and that alone has people buzzing in New York. Imagine adding another elite power hitter to that lineup. That's the dream scenario for a fan base that's been begging for more offense. But here's where it gets tricky. Even if Murakami wants to play in the Bronx, the Yankees have some internal questions to answer. They already have Ben Rice, who stepped up and had an impressive season, showing he can handle first base and even fill in behind the plate when needed. Rice hit for solid power, posted an OPS in the 800s, and showed that he could be a reliable part of this team moving forward. When you have a young player producing like that on a team-friendly contract, it gives you flexibility. So do you really want to drop over $200 million on another first baseman, even one as talented as Murakami? That's the debate going on right now in Yankee circles. It's not just about star power. It's about fit, balance, and making sure every dollar you spend actually moves the team forward. Murakami is not exactly a natural third baseman, even though he can play the position in a pinch. He's primarily a first baseman who has the versatility to shift over when needed, but that's not his strength. And right now, that's where the Yankees might be better off focusing their attention. Third base. That corner of the infield has been a revolving door for the team, and it's become pretty clear that a consistent, everyday player at that position could make a huge difference. A solid defender with some pop, someone who can hit lefties and provide stability. That's what New York really needs right now. Because if they can lock down third base, the rest of the infield starts to fall into place naturally. Now, there's another name that's entered the conversation recently. Kazuma Okamoto of the Yomiuri Giants. He's not getting as much media hype as Murakami, but baseball people know he's the real deal. Okamoto has quietly built an incredible career in Japan, showing great balance between power and contact. He's also a bit more versatile defensively, able to handle both corner infield positions without being a liability. And if we're being honest, that might be exactly what the Yankees need. His batting average sits around the 270s for his career, and he's coming off a season hitting over 320, which shows how well-rounded he's become at the plate. The power is still there, not quite Murakami levels, but definitely enough to play in the big leagues. Plus, he doesn't strike out nearly as much, which is something the Yankees desperately need to fix in their lineup. The idea of bringing Okamoto to New York actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. He's younger, adaptable, and more likely to fit into the current roster construction. He could be that stabilizing force at third base, giving the Yankees both reliability and upside without the same kind of massive financial commitment that Murakami would demand. And it would send a strong message that the Yankees are still capable of landing top-tier Japanese talent, even on the East Coast, where historically teams like the Dodgers or Mariners tend to dominate that market. Bringing in Okamoto could be a statement move, not just for the roster, but for the organization's global presence. It says the Yankees are serious about being creative again, about finding value beyond the obvious superstars. Meanwhile, internally, the Yankees have other moving parts to consider. Giancarlo Stanton is expected to remain the designated hitter going into next season, and after putting up a .940 OPS with a near .600 slugging percentage, it's hard to argue against that. When he's healthy, Stanton is still one of the most dangerous bats in the league. The problem, as always, is health and consistency. In the postseason, he struggled, and that left a bad taste for fans who have seen this story before. But as of now, he's locked into that DH role, and that's one less position to worry about. Then there's the financial side of things. With Aaron Hicks's contract finally off the books, the Yankees have a bit more breathing room. But they still have to be smart. The last few years have shown that spending big doesn't always equal winning big. You can throw money at problems, but unless those signings make sense within the team structure, you just end up with more dead payroll and fewer answers. That's why the decision between Murakami and Okamoto isn't just about talent. It's about strategy. Murakami would bring excitement, name recognition, and a massive swing that could light up Yankee Stadium. But Okamoto might bring stability, contact hitting, and defensive balance, all for a more reasonable price. In the long run, that could be the smarter play. And we can't ignore Ben Rice in all of this. He's not just a placeholder. He's earned a real shot to be the Yankees' first baseman of the future. His numbers may not jump off the page like Murakami's do in Japan, but in context, they're impressive. A .255 batting average, 26 home runs, a strong OPS. Those are numbers that tell you this kid can play. He's developing, learning, and most importantly, producing under pressure. The Yankees have spent years trying to develop homegrown hitters who can make a real impact at the big league level. Rice might finally be one of those guys. So why block his path before you even see what he's fully capable of? That's why the third base pursuit feels so important right now. It's not just about filling a hole. It's about balancing the entire lineup. The Yankees have had too many seasons where their offense felt one-dimensional, living and dying by the long ball. They've needed hitters who can adjust, who can keep rallies alive, and who can hit for contact as well as power. Okamoto brings that. Murakami, as gifted as he is, might just add to the same boom or bust dynamic the Yankees are trying to escape from. It's about building a lineup that can win in October, not just rack up home runs in May. Now, of course, this is the Yankees we're talking about. Big names and big signings will always be part of the DNA. You can't rule out the possibility of them going all in on Murakami if they believe he's a generational talent. That's how this franchise has always operated, chasing greatness, no matter the price. But the smarter move, the one that fits this version of the Yankees trying to retool for sustained success, might just be Okamoto. He's not the flashiest name, but he could be the missing piece that helps this team finally find its balance again. So here we are, another offseason, another round of speculation, rumors, and possibilities. The Yankees are once again at a crossroads, trying to figure out whether to chase the big headline or make the calculated move that pays off in the long run. Murakami or Okamoto, power or balance, flash or fit. That's the debate echoing through Yankee Nation right now. Whatever happens, one thing is certain. This team can't afford to stand still any longer. The time to act is now, and everyone's watching to see just how bold the Bronx Bombers will be this time around. When you really look at where the Yankees stand right now, you realize this offseason isn't just about adding names. It's about redefining who they want to be as a team. For the past few years, they've been caught between two worlds, the traditional power-hitting Yankees identity and the modern game that values athleticism, contact, and adaptability. The elimination by Toronto didn't just sting because it was another early exit. It exposed every flaw that's been sitting under the surface. The lineup was streaky, the defense unreliable, and the depth inconsistent. That's why this winter feels different. It's not about splashing money around. It's about making the kind of decisions that shape the next 5 years of Yankees baseball. Brian Cashman and the front office know the pressure they're under. Fans are tired of hearing promises. They want action, and they want results. You can feel that tension around every rumor, every possible trade or signing. It's not just about talent. It's about finding players who fit a vision. The Yankees can't just build a team that looks good on paper. They need a team that performs when it matters most, in those tight October games where every at-bat feels like a battle. And that's where this conversation about Murakami and Okamoto goes deeper than just stats. It's about what kind of baseball the Yankees want to play. Murakami represents power, excitement, and that big market headline. He's the type of player who would immediately energize Yankee Stadium, the kind of presence that would have fans showing up early just to watch batting practice. But the question is whether his style of play truly helps fix what's been broken. Strikeouts have been one of the biggest issues for the Yankees offense. Too many rallies die because of a lack of contact hitters. Adding another slugger who lives and dies by the long ball could just repeat the same pattern. Sure, Murakami might hit 40 home runs, but if he's also striking out 180 times, are you really solving anything? Okamoto, on the other hand, brings a different energy. He's steady, consistent, and has a swing that's built for all fields. That kind of hitter changes the rhythm of a lineup. When you have someone who can move runners, who can make contact in big moments, it changes everything. And defensively, he gives you more flexibility. Third base has quietly been one of the most unstable positions for the Yankees, and Okamoto could anchor that spot for years. He's not the loudest name, but sometimes the smartest signings are the ones that don't dominate the headlines on day one. Another piece of this puzzle is what the Yankees plan to do around their core players. Aaron Judge is still the face of the franchise, but there's growing concern about his long-term durability. The team can't afford to rely on him to carry the offense every single season. They need others who can step up, players who can protect him in the lineup and take some of the pressure off his shoulders. Giancarlo Stanton had a strong bounce-back year when healthy, but his role is limited to designated hitter now. That means the Yankees need more athleticism and more balance around the diamond. It's not enough to have 2 or 3 stars. Championship teams are built on depth and versatility. And that's another reason the Yankees should look beyond just the biggest name available. There's value in building a roster that fits together naturally. You don't want a lineup where every hitter has the same weaknesses. You want contrast, speed, power, patience, contact. Players who complement each other instead of overlapping. That's what the Yankees have been missing. Too often, they've been a one-dimensional team, and it's shown in October when pitchers exploit their predictability. The front office knows it. That's why scouts have been focusing on players like Okamoto, who bring different skills to the table. It's also important to consider the long-term picture financially. The Yankees have some big contracts still on the books, and even though the organization can afford almost anyone, they've become more conscious about where they spend their money. Committing more than $200 million to a player like Murakami might make headlines, but it could also limit flexibility in the coming years. If Okamoto can be signed for significantly less, while filling a more pressing need, that's the kind of move that makes sense both competitively and financially. Especially when you already have young, inexpensive talent like Ben Rice developing into a potential everyday starter. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Whispers have been circling the league, and the latest one might just shake the foundations of the New York Yankees bullpen. Sources close to the team suggest that Jordan Romano, the Canadian right-hander known for his dominant slider and ice-cold composure on the mound, is closing in on a deal with the Bronx Bombers. If true, this move could redefine the Yankees' late-inning strategy, as Romano is reportedly set to assume the role of closer immediately. The buzz started quietly, but gained traction among insiders who say the Yankees are all in on bolstering their bullpen. Romano, who has made a name for himself in the American League with his ability to thrive under pressure, seems like a natural fit for New York's high-stakes environment. The team's current bullpen has had flashes of brilliance, but lacked a consistent presence to seal tight games, and Romano's acquisition would address that glaring hole. Imagine him walking onto the mound in the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium, the roar of the crowd echoing, as he delivers that signature pitch that has left hitters swinging at air across the league. While nothing has been officially announced, insiders hint that Romano's style, precise, fearless, and seemingly unshakable, fits perfectly with the Yankees' philosophy. Sources describe front office meetings where Romano's name kept coming up, the consensus being that the 31-year-old reliever could become the anchor New York desperately needs for their postseason push. Rumors also suggest that Romano is thrilled at the prospect of joining one of baseball's most storied franchises, a team where every pitch is under a microscope and every save is celebrated like a championship. Of course, the nature of rumors means there's room for skepticism. Deals can falter at the last minute, and contract details remain under wraps. But the chatter is intense. And if Romano does indeed take the mound as the Yankees closer, the franchise could be looking at a transformation in late-game dominance. Fans and analysts alike are now watching closely, imagining a bullpen led by a man whose very presence commands respect and whose talent could turn close games into guaranteed victories. Whether this is smoke or the real deal, one thing is certain. The Yankees' bullpen chatter has just gone from background noise to front-page buzz, and Jordan Romano's potential arrival has everyone talking. Stay tuned, because if this rumor comes true, the Bronx may have just found their new ninth inning enforcer. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.